you're causing and you're serving a purpose. The folks that are here now, they should have enacted the same day that Ision was assaulted.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So when we stand and now disrupt and engage in the ways that we have to, because it's not right for any child, right?
Right.
Black, white, green, or indifferent. Any child, especially a child with special needs,
Absolutely.
right?
They can't speak for
That cannot speak for themselves.
Yes.
That doesn't know how to articulate what just happened.
Exactly.
Right? And for them to sit here now, because we've disrupted their daily practice of today and exposing abuse, the first thing that should have been done, because if I slap this young lady right here, what's going to happen to me?
And criminal liability.
I'm getting arrested. I'm going to slap this white woman right here, my beautiful sister. Oh, well, Barry, hey, gotta go. Here's a mugshot.
Out of here.
And we'll figure out everything later.
Absolutely.
But it's not going to be 3 days later.
4 days later.
What is it, 3 or 4 days? Which one?
4 days.
4 days later, you're being told you can be suspended or leave with pay.
Right, exactly.
Following the investigation.
Makes no sense.
So so when I look at this faculty, I have to understand that their interest wasn't the interest of who?
Ision.
Of who?
Ision.
Of who?
Ision.
It was the best interest of practice of their district, this school, and this teacher.
Yes.
His teacher that has a responsibility
Yes. To protect our children.
to serve and protect the children to her best capability.
Yes.
And that's it. Especially, sister, especially the most what?
Vulnerable.
Especially the most what?
Vulnerable.
Especially the most what?
Vulnerable.
This is exactly what we say, right? But the reaction never ever fix a crime, because they should have reacted in haste, just like we are reacting right now on this Monday.
Right. With concern.
With concern, with and we understand about the school board and all those different things and cause and effect. We do get that. But when I hear a 5-year-old child with special needs gets restrained illegally and slapped, someone needs to be fired.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Immediately.
It must stop.
So if this happened to her child,
Who else did it do it?
his child, it can happen to your child. Your child.
It happened to
Your
mine.
child. Your child. Their own child.
Their own child.
Second one with this sexual abuse case. It happened 2 weeks ago.
So my cause and effect. Come over here with me, sweet.
Folsom district, the same exact district.
It's not about us saying that all teachers are bad and all teachers behave in this matter. It's not us saying that. But if we don't stand up to fight for one child, that leaves every other child vulnerable for abuse.
Yes.
There shouldn't have been an aide that felt compelled.
Exactly.
An aide that felt compelled to report. Because here's the caveat, y'all. The same woman, Miss Amber Graves, is it right?
Yes. Yep.
Miss Amber Graves. Thank you. McGiffin. Amber McGiffin.
Accountable.
Miss Amber McGiffin was back to school the same day.
What?
Yes.
The next day and the following day.
Multiple days.
So when the assault occurred, the restraint occurred, they just sat on the information. She was able to go back.
Oh, they're not.
And what Ebony is going to sit there and speak upon is this is just not one incident. This was numerous things that our son had to go through before it came to this point. So I can't, for the good mindset of all my people here, I can't be concerned with how facilitators of injustice are practicing showing up. I have to be concerned. Come over here, King, please. Please.
Yes. Ready.
I have to be concerned with parents that had the brave heart to speak out against the injustice that just happened to their son.
Yes.
That brave aide who I hope doesn't receive consequences down the line
Protect her.
for speaking up.
To protect the aides.
Because this unfortunate current event is currently happening to multiple schools, just not Folsom School District.
Yeah.
Whether it's racism, whether it's abuse, sexual or other, these are things that are constantly being swept under the rug instead of doing the right thing, calling the family in, calling liaison and advocates like me in, and let's really figure out how we change things.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not done that way. It's done like this. Let's hope and please pray that nobody gets any attention to this.
That's right. Let's keep it quiet. They try to keep it
Everyone,
quiet.
hey, everybody quiet.
We're not
Hey,
gonna let it.
shh, no, everyone quiet. Shh, shh, shh. Nobody make a sound until we make a sound.
Yes.
Justice for who?
ECON!
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 Here we are at another moment. And again, this is just not about ECON. This is about probably the treatment of many other students here in this school. Not only the school, but the school district. Let's be very clear, people, that just because ECON's case is a case that we're now dealing and discussing right now, don't think there's other infractions that we have not put into light.
Right.
The parent that probably took their child out of school because they felt they had no voice.
Yes.
The aide that was fearing for their job because they felt if they said something to that teacher or to about the teacher, they would get fired.
Yes.
Or simply because nobody really cares.
Right. Yep.
Let's be honest. Who's really gonna care about a 5-year-old black boy with special needs? I said, who's really gonna care about a special needs 5-year-old black boy?
Should be everyone.
Everyone should.
And everyone should care. That's why we've put Folsom School District on notice, not just the school district with their practices, how they've conveyed information, how they've displayed a lack of transparency. And we know that there's a lot of different things that they have to pose and incorrect statements that they probably made throughout the process. We understand that, but there should have been more done for the family.
Yes. Faster.
For this mother and father who had no idea what was going on with their son up until 4 days, until she got a phone call and a superintendent called her and explained what happened. Now, any kind of God-fearing parent is going to do one thing, right? I'm going to come up to the school.
Absolutely.
If somebody laid hands on my child, I'm finna go lay hands on them.
Absolutely.
And then it would have been a reverse, right?
Of course, we would have been.
She came up here unruly. She attacked the teacher in the classroom. It's a whole different angle. But what she chose is take the power of voice that her son doesn't have
Yes.
with her father of a child. And with the great people that believe abuse in any kind of way, especially for a 5-year-old with special needs, should not be tolerated.
Yes.
And now we ask for what? Justice for who?
ECON!
Justice for who?
ECON!
Justice for who?
ECON!
So Folsom School District, we demand changes immediately.
Yes. Accountability.
Accountability, what?
Immediately.
No child should suffer in a classroom in dirty diapers.
Definitely.
Because that's what happened to ECON.
Yes.
No child should fear that they may have a moment without getting restrained illegally. That's what happened to ECON. And please don't create the narrative that it was a gentle slap. What is considered a gentle slap to you? What is that?
No slap at all.
And please don't create this moment of victimhood for the teacher that's been dead wrong.
Yep.
The adult.
She's in full violation.
Yes.
And anybody that doesn't see that or recognize that, I have to look at you a little bit differently.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So here we are, as we'll have the father and mother discuss the timeline of events that have currently taken place and the demands that we ask for. One of those demands is the immediate firing of who?
Amber.
The immediate firing of who?
Amber.
As well as the immediate arrest of who?
Amber. Gifted.
The immediate arrest of who?
Amber. Gifted.
There has to be steps made and a change of policy here at this school, as well as this district, on how things are handled and how things are done in Folsom School District, because we can no longer continue to have moments like this where the good people of the community have to come and show out and stand and deliver for justice for our children that are not heard, our children who fear, our children who feel isolated, are being victimized by the lack of transparency, so-called school rules that don't fit them, and a gender-driven ideology put out by the school district to make sure that they cover it up and not expose the things that are happening. Because I'm gonna let you know right now, a little birdie told me that they're already creating their legal team for an action. If there's nothing wrong, why you got a legal team ready?
Right.
Wow.
If there's nothing wrong, why did you already make a statement to the news?
Wow.
So you're already admitting guilt.
Yeah.
So then I ask, who had the audacity to believe it would probably be okay for this young lady to stay in any classroom during this investigation or while she assaulted a child?
Right.
Please make that make sense to us.
Yes. We need answers.
So we'll be asking for answers, and they're here to answer them. But the voices of these powerful parents who've come together, and their anxiety, their frustration, their pain, by allowing a school who they felt was going to protect their child. It's difficult enough to have a child with special needs, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The wear and tear of having children all together,
Yes.
but with special needs. And this young man is so handsome, isn't he?
Yes.
Like, who would want to slap him?
Amber.
Who would want to restrain him?
Amber.
Shame on her.
There has to be better practices. There has to be a lot better training. And we'll get to that later. And there has to be better training in this whole process
Definitely.
to create a more transparent and easier segue for teachers that feel they're under pressure, that can't handle it, right? How they can be supported better.
Yeah.
Support.
But they cannot be supported by taking measures in their own hand
No.
by restraining any one of our children.
No.
Absolutely not.
So as we stand for one, we actually stand for who?
Yes.
We stand for one, we stand for, we stand for one, we stand for, we stand for one, we stand for. Make sure you say your, first, last name.
My name is Ebony McNeil.
My name is Willie Graham.
Our son is Esion Graham. He started school here, August the 8th, I believe, was the first day of school. I was not happy with the way that I walked into the classroom. There was no one to greet me.
What was it? The date?
August the 8th.
Okay.
August the 8th, the first day of school. I walked in the classroom extremely disorganized. Now, I've been in the school district for 2 years. I hadn't experienced this before. The teacher probably came in about, 45 minutes later?
About
Yeah.
30 minutes later.
30 minutes later. Before the teacher even arrived, I was greeted by the vice principal, who told me to get off the campus. She did not greet me. She did not ask me my name. She did not ask me anything. She told me essentially that I need to leave. I told her it was the first day of school. I wasn't comfortable leaving my son here, and I haven't even met his teacher yet. So I walked into the classroom, waited for the teacher. Then that's when I was asking the aides who had anybody reviewed his IEP, anybody can let me know, you know, the structure of the classroom, anything like that. Everybody was wide-eyed, didn't know anything, couldn't give me any information. I asked them who was able to properly change my child because he's not fully potty trained during the day. They told me no one. So we walked to the principal's office where the principal told me, well, she told the aide to relay to me that I would need to come back up here every 2 hours?
2 hours to change our child.
Which
During the day.
absolutely doesn't make any sense. So after a lot of conversation, we had to call the director to come up here, Miss Christina Royer, to come up here to look through paperwork inside the office to even let me know who had the capability or the certification to change my son during the day. I was not comfortable that day, but I did leave my child there. I do have to go to work. So let's fast forward a week later where my son was dropped off to daycare completely soaking wet. I mean, soaked through his shirt, through his pants, fully through his pamper, was delivered to another address like that. She had to call me and let me know the state that my son was in, which was completely unacceptable. Called the principal immediately. I called a meeting with her and all the aides in the classroom to get a complete understanding if anyone had the knowledge to be able to change my child. It's not hard. You change a child every 2 hours, you check or change that. It just is what it is. They let me know they were able to. We put a plan in place for the daily logs, right?
Yes. That they still do.
Right, that still didn't happen. So everything happened in about a 4 or 5 day instant. So let's fast forward 5 days to where Miss McGiffin called me and told me that I needed to pick up my child because he was being unruly. She was talking over her words. I did not know what she was talking about. She was saying that he wasn't feeling well, and I'm like, you know, this morning he was feeling fine. She handed the phone over to the aide, and the aide proceeded to tell me that they lost my child, that he was in the cafeteria. She said she turned her back for maybe a minute and a half. She said about 90 seconds. She turned back around. She didn't know where Esion was. They had to do an all lockdown on the school. He had made it out of the cafeteria, off campus. So there's extra gates here. If you see these extra black gates here that are not locked, they say this is a closed campus, but these gates, you can stick your hand in, you can come out. My son was able to get through these gates and onto this main street here where we all are before someone who was driving up was able to grab him out of the street and bring him back to the school.
What was that date?
So no one knew.
That date was, give me 1 second.
Chronological order is very important because as we
It's
are
been
here,
filled, my nephew.
we want to make sure
Been
that
filled.
folks are understanding that the caveat of this whole thing falls also in the sense of the lack of supervision, and that also creates what we're dealing with right now. The frustration of a parent, of a teacher that probably is overwhelmed with the child that may be a little bit more difficult than others. And here you have a moment like this.
That was August the 18th. Thank you, sir. That was the day she called me and told me.
Let's wait for one of our late birds from ABC.
Okay.
Running a little late. Oh yeah, go ahead, chat.
We won't stop, I hope you know, Amber M must go.
We won't stop, I hope you know, Amber must go.
We won't stop, I hope you know,
Amber must go.
We won't stop, I hope you know,
Amber must go.
We won't stop, I hope you know,
Amber must go.
Well, y'all can say Amber must go.
Amber Griffin must go. We stand for one, we stand for all. Yes. Let this be a message to the other school districts.
Yes, so on the 18th, that was when he was able to run from the cafeteria. I had to call the IEP meeting. That was the 24th when we were able to get all of the members of the IEP meeting to come in and go over everything, where we thought we put a safe plan in place for Esion regarding that incident. I still didn't get a report from that incident. And what day was this? On the 28th, that's when I emailed Amber about the daily logs. Again, she was not following the IEP plan. Leslie was very intricate in all of these emails and meetings and everything, but it was just a lot of talking over and trying to I feel as though saved Amber because she wasn't doing her job. She continuously let me know that they had all the extra support in the classroom for Amber, which I didn't understand why she would need all this extra support plus all the aides that she was already getting support from. But if it was helping my son, then I was okay with that. But on the Right, so yeah, so then on the 14th, that's when I received the call from the superintendent that that she illegally restrained my child and she struck him across the face. The aide reported that, I'm guessing the night before, the morning of, I'm not sure. But regardless, it wasn't reported automatically, and my son was still allowed to be around this woman for multiple days after that. I don't know what type of emotional trauma that my son experiences on the inside because of that, because he can't tell me. You know what I mean? He wasn't able to tell me to come home and tell me that day that this woman slapped him. You know what I mean? So I can't connect with him in that way and talk to him about that. I can just day to day make sure that he's okay. I called another meeting. I don't know how many meetings I've called. This one, the superintendent and the IEP met with me. I still wasn't getting any information. I still don't have a report. I asked for an incident report. The behavior specialist was there who told me that all reports had to go through her, and she still didn't receive a report about any of the restraints or anything. So I did get an email saying that no report has still been made. So I don't know when I'm gonna see or find out exactly what happened, how many times it's happened. There were multiple people in the classroom besides just the one aide that reported. I want to know what they saw and how long this has been going on. I don't feel like this is an isolated incident. You know, at this point, I don't know if for the entire 5 weeks my son was getting abused. You know what I mean? If this is some type of retaliation because of the fact that I kept calling and I kept meeting and I kept talking. My son is not hard to deal with. He's not, I've never, like I said, he's been going to preschool in the school district. I've never gotten a complaint about my son. So I don't know what was going on in the realm of where she felt like she needed to restrain my son in the first place. So for one, that's illegal. So if she was doing that, why didn't anybody step in? Why did the multiple people that were in the classroom to support her, why weren't they supporting her, telling her not to do that in that moment?
Right.
That's what I don't understand. And then the next day, when she was allowed to be around my child, what exactly happened? You know what I mean? And I still don't know. No one's telling me anything. Lawyers are calling me, telling me they want to meet. I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't have a report yet. So that's where we stand. I want to see the report. I want to know what happened, why it happened, who saw it happen, and I want her fired, period. She is in the meeting. I was told that if she was allowed to come back into the classroom, they would notify me.
Why are you allowed to come back?
Why would you be allowed to come back into a classroom after you've assaulted a child? And the same thing he said is what I said in that meeting. If I assaulted somebody, any one of you, I would immediately be in jail.
Yep.
So I don't understand why she's allowed to be at home having a good time with her little cat on Facebook when my son is the one who got assaulted and I still don't know what happened. So that's what we need. We need her to be fired. We need some accountability from the district to let me know exactly what happened. I need to hear from the aide what happened, and I need some type of report. Nobody's giving me anything. Thank you.
That's right.
Can you reiterate what exactly the superintendent said when they called you on the phone and said there was the restraint and the slap? I think you can go over what was said on the phone.
What she said on the phone was that she got a report that Miss McGiffin was restraining Ision on the floor, was holding him down, restraining him, that he got something about getting on the school bus. She was holding him down, restraining him, and she physically slapped him across the face. Right, that's what the aide reported to a secondary person.
Called her because the aide reported.
Right.
Kudos to the aide.
The first day of school, when exactly did the teacher eventually arrive to class?
We got there at 8:25. She probably arrived around 9.
And school starts at 9, 8:25.
8:25. We were there at about like 8:15. Yeah.
And so the day that day the incident happened and the day that you received the call from the superintendent. Give those dates again. The date that the assault happened.
The date that the assault happened was September the 11th.
You got called on the 14th.
I got called on the 14th, yes. And we sat down in a meeting on the 15th, yes.
And the last day you knew this teacher to still be teaching in this class was?
From my understanding, it was the 13th.
She taught up until the 13th?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, she finished out her school day on the 13th, yes. When I came to get my son on the 14th, she was not in the classroom.
Are you able to tell us a little bit more about your son? If you can say his full name and spell it, how old is he? And you were saying he's nonverbal, he has autism. If you could tell us a little bit more about who he is.
Esion Graham. He's 5 years old. He turned 5 on August the 9th, the next day after school started. He is nonverbal. He was diagnosed with autism. We're working on his speech. We do sign language. He's extremely bright. He's extremely communicative. Just because he doesn't talk doesn't mean he doesn't understand. And so that's another reason why I don't understand why the communication was so lost in the classroom with Miss McGiffin, because what was told to me was he was fine with all the other aides. You know, I feel like my son can sense out people. Absolutely. And so I feel like he wasn't vibing with her in that way because she wasn't a good person on the inside.
Ill intent.
I don't feel like she was properly trained, which is maybe why she was overwhelmed in the classroom. But going back to my son, he's great. He likes going to school. He loves riding the school bus. He's been in the school district since he was 3 years old. He always gets good reports from his teachers. He knows his ABCs. He knows all his numbers. We actually think he's bilingual. He understands Spanish as well.
Yes.
Smart.
All his games, he plays in Spanish for some reason.
Yeah. Kudos to his first daycare teacher. She taught him.
Was there a report to CPS?
Yes, there was a report to CPS. I'm waiting for that to get that incident report back as well. We did make a report with the police.
What do they do?
Nothing as of yet. I called and they said that I have to go through a bunch of hoops in order to get that report as well. So I'm still fighting for my son, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened to him.
And we won't stop.
Hold on a second. What you said?
Did the school contact CPS per ed code?
No, not from what I was told. No.
Did the school acknowledge your IEP within the first 30 days per ed code?
They were not following it. No.
Wow.
No one had information.
Did you get an ouch report from the school per ed code?
No.
Did you get an incident report from the school per ed code?
No. No.
Is it common for a superintendent to contact the family, or does school administration contact the family when there's an incident?
That's what I thought. It was a school administration, and that's why I asked directly to Miss Leslie why she didn't personally contact me and email me, let me know anything that was regarding my son. She was so intricate in speaking for Miss McGiffin every time that I had a question for her. But when that incident happened, she was nowhere to be found, hiding behind the police officer, because she couldn't answer any questions. So I'm just looking for answers, and I was denied the report. I was told that I'm not going to receive one, and so that's what we're looking for, is some answers.
And when you were faced with legal counsel from the district, how did that make you feel, being unprepared with any facts or information?
Yeah, I asked them when they called me, I asked them what information could they give to me, because I didn't have anything more to say except my son was assaulted. They said that they didn't have any information to give me, so I don't see what we need to sit down for, correct?
At all.
All right.
At this point, are you bringing him to school? Still, is he coming to school?
No.
Of course not.
No.
So now you have a case to where not only as a young man being traumatized and has been violated, as well as the family, he's missing school.
Loss of services.
So you have the loss of education, loss of services, a burden for the family to now they have to create some special a treatment plan, and a lot of, I think, just running around backwards with the school district.
Yep.
You know, as my sister was stating, why aren't all these things, haven't they been put in place? Because we do know this, to be fair. If he came to school with bruises on his face, immediately there would be
calling
some
CPS.
that CPS would be called.
Did he have bruises? Did you find bruises on him after you found out about this?
No, but again, I found out 4 days later. So 3 days later. So if I was knowledgeable about what happened to my son on Monday, then I would have been able to properly inspect him. You know what I mean? So we are brown skinned, so things show up on us differently. So I didn't see any visible bruises, but that doesn't mean that they weren't there.
Was 911 contacted when your student was assaulted per code?
No.
Do you have a copy of the CTC, a Commission of Teacher Credential, where the district's supposed to make an inquiry when a student is assaulted on school grounds by a professional? Were you provided an incident number from CTC or the CDE?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
What would it take for you at this point to bring your son back to school here?
My son will never come back to school here. No, I don't think they're properly trained. I think they were trying, but trying isn't good enough, especially when you have special needs children. I feel like everybody should have been properly trained in order to take care of the children that were on campus, especially the special needs kids. I feel like they were playing a bunch of catch up, you know, talking over their words, trying to figure out what they needed to do in order, you know, to keep the kids safe. But I don't feel like they had a proper plan in place. Not at this school at all.
They were simply trying to cover up
Yes.
their tracks.
And they're all mandated reporters. So
100%.
you should have reported it immediately.
What was the last thing you heard from the school or the district?
The last thing that I heard was that I wasn't getting a report. That either report was not made, and that I would not be receiving it.
When was that?
That email just came in. Let me see. Give me 1 second.
But they gave you no reason?
No. The 21st. September 21st, yes.
It's always like that.
So in a sense of, you know, what we're very much clearing out is the inability for the Folsom School District as well as Esion's school to be hastily sending out information and tremendous violations and codes that have been violated in the process of making sure that a young child who has been assaulted by a teacher is getting the information to the family and is in a safe place. These aren't things that we're making up.
Right.
Right? And thank you for my sister who, you know, did her due diligence to do her homework to make sure, because we know when media speaks to the district, they're going to try to, you know, color it and make it look pretty and be like, well, no, we A, B, C, D. No, you didn't. And that's why we're here. We're not here in this simple complex because we want to create, stir, and disrupt some young people who should be learning and not having to worry about what's happening out here. But the understanding point that we're making is these violations, you cannot cover them up. We're going to expose you. Stop trying to protect the teachers and protect the students.
Yes.
I'm going to say that again. Stop trying to protect the teachers and protect the students.
Yes.
We don't care about your teachers union, how they'll fight you tooth and nail about a firing. Given the details of what we know of the violations that they were supposed to do, it's in their ethics book. It's in their code. This isn't something we made up.
That's right.
This is what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
Follow the guidelines and the rules that you guys put in place.
Yep.
Exactly.
Because these teachers, we understand, matter, but these kids matter just as much.
Yes.
And for the simple fact, they had the audacity, the clear audacity to try to cover up a 5-year-old with special needs, this young black boy who could not speak to what happened to him, to cover it up because some teacher did some fancy conversation and pretend it wasn't there, speaks volumes to this district.
Yes. And it's not the first time.
And this is not the first moment we've had with this school district.
Wow.
Whether it's young kids at a high school with racist dolls, bullying, black girls about their hair,
Sexual abuse
sexual abuse.
a week ago.
Let's not just celebrate the Folsom football team.
That's right.
That got beat by De La Salle, by the way. Just had to throw that in there. Let's make sure that we're protecting and covering and keeping all the children safe in every school district here in Folsom.
Absolutely.
In the world.
This is the bottom line to what we're saying. One child brings us here, but we're speaking for a multitude of children that's voices and families' voices that have been unheard and it's been swept under the rug.
Yes.
Because their prestige and their reputation of being Folsom School District, we don't have any problems here. Everybody is welcome. No. It's a lie.
Yep.
It's not true.
Not the case at all.
Because what should have happened is there should have been a blitz on making sure that the parents knew all the information, checked in, investigated, that teacher not come back until the investigation was done, CPS file, police report, parents not having to call the police or make a police report, the district does. And not because when you feel it's getting a little warmer, you make a blanket statement to the media. And then you all show up because you know we come. And now we're here.
Why didn't you show up like that when it happened?
You didn't know for 3 days.
Well, because
No,
they
not you
didn't.
guys,
Because
the
no, well, because but they don't show up because they don't really necessarily care.
Right.
Yeah, where was
I mean,
that
that's
team
the
for my
reality.
nephew that day?
Where's
Where's that
administration over there?
That I mean,
Where
because
was the group?
why care about a 5-year-old black kid? Because to some people, they'll probably say, well, he probably deserved it. Well, she probably
Who
was
cares?
restraining him because he was being unruly.
Because that's how black people are.
But you can't justify abuse, y'all.
No way.
And one of the statements I heard, generally they said, it was a gentle slap. And I'll say that again, the question, what is a gentle slap?
What is
No slap.
What is that?
No slap. No slap. No slaps at all.
So,
Right.
so do we have any further questions for media?
If we can have mom and dad one
Yes.
more time say your full names and spell them for us.
Spell it out.
Yeah.
Ebony, Ebone, McNeil, Mcneal.
My name is Willie Graham, WILLIEGRAHAM.
That's Sion's name.
Esion, ECEON, Graham, GRAHAM.
Say it one more time so they don't mess it up. 'Cause you know some-
Esion, ECEON, GRAHAM.
And what's the bottom line? What you want? The last
We won't stop you already.
Yeah, she needs to get
know.
fired.
Oh.
She needs to be fired. She needs to be arrested for abuse. She needs to be arrested for neglect. She harmed my special needs child. She needs to be arrested. That's the bottom line.
School district needs to make changes regarding their IEPs.
They absolutely do. I don't, and again, I can say it was for this school because the teachers in this school, in his special needs class, they were not properly trained. Incompetent. They need to go back through training. The aides did not follow protocol, and I don't feel like the people in the classroom were able to support the children that they had in there. They need to go back to school. They need to be properly trained, for sure.
If the teacher's not fired, do you see yourself filing a lawsuit against the district, pressing charges?
I'm absolutely looking forward to filing a lawsuit against the district, no matter what.
You're not covering this up.
No matter what.
You're not covering it up.
We're not
So you're our final lawsuit.
He doesn't have a voice, so we're
Anyway.
his voice.
Regardless.
Yeah. And what are you asking for?
No,
I don't think we need to answer that question right now. At this moment in time. The immediate, go ahead.
Unfortunately, because these great people, these concerned parents, were threatened with legal counsel before they even had the series of the scope of the event and the incident effects. It left them no recourse but to seek legal representation and legal action. We will not allow the district to use the threat of a lawsuit in defense of their child to be the narrative here today. At the end of the day, the district failed to protect black bodies on this campus.
Yes.
They've been failing. They've been failing to protect black employees on this campus. And when you speak up, you are silenced.
Yes.
These people are making a case today. Yes. Out of the kindness of their heart, out of concern for their child. They need to be held accountable. Yes. For the cover-up, for the continued cover-up, for the threat with litigation with their attorneys, because what they try to do to black parents, when you know that the school has been doing wrong, is they put in these attorneys, they sit you down, and they try to settle for $30,000 as if the harm on black bodies is worth $30,000.
Right. Amen. Is that what happened?
The conversation, they got their attorneys on them as a means of implicit intimidation and as a means to keep their mouths shut. And they think they can just pay people off with a small sum of $30,000.
Were you offered $30,000?
Or so. Decline to answer. So any questions with legal counsel? Thank you.
Yeah, we're not going to answer any legal questions.
You should be asking the superintendent who showed up here, who called these great people, not the principal, not the VP, not the teacher, not the paraeducator, but the superintendent. What superintendent makes a call to a family when they know that they're guilty and they wrong and they've been covering it up? That's the only reason why the superintendent comes from behind their desk to then have a conversation with a family. That's it.
So the reality again. No, it's all. We appreciate you.
Very really quick, just for our reporting, for our reporting, because we did have the sound with her and she was talking about legal counsel. You had mentioned being called by attorneys as well. Can we report, as was said multiple times, that the district did approach you with legal counsel to try to settle this? Is that accurate? Try to settle it financially?
I've had a talk with the lawyer. That's where I'll leave it.
Their lawyer.
They had their lawyers contact her.
Correct.
So again,
She doesn't have a legal.
as we shift right to reality versus right and the correction of everything, because we often find ourselves trying to find that narrative, that headline. The headline is this. It's not about a lawsuit. It's about a young 5-year-old being abused.
Yes. With no voice.
With no
Who has no communication skills to verbally say, I've been violated.
That's right.
Who again has no communication skills to say, I've been violated. My teacher hit me.
How dare you?
My teacher restrained me. Mommy, my teacher hold my arm. Daddy, my teacher slapped me.
I'm scared.
I'm hurt.
I don't want to go there. Nothing, no recourse. And a district not being empathetic to the needs of what this child or the parents or the community for that matter, purposely trying to cover it up to protect their reputation as well as to protect the teacher and not wanting to get this type of negative attention.
That's right.
Well, it's here now.
It's here.
We ain't going nowhere.
So it's not going to be a storyline about kid acted up. It's about a kid getting abused by a teacher that had much training, schooling to be in this position. A 5-year-old was assaulted.
Yes.
And it was covered up.
How soon after the supervisors contacted you did the lawyer contact you?
We're not gonna move to that. We're not doing all that. We're not doing all that. If that's what you guys have come for, is a lawyer, that's out. We're talking about, why aren't you asking how is the child?
Yes.
How are the children? What about the other children? Why aren't you asking them questions about why did it take so long for the mother to be contacted
Why
and
hasn't the
notified?
report still been filed?
Why is she on paid leave?
Why is she on
Why is she on paid leave?
Right, ask the right
Usually
question.
don't when
I'm
you
not
assault
getting paid right
somebody.
now.
If I assaulted this woman right now, assault and battery, I'm going to jail. Mugshot. What are we talking about? We're not going to go into this grandioso about lawsuits and no.
Fire her.
That's the main point.
Well, if anybody, we all know that, sister. We all know it. They all know it. And it wouldn't happen to their child.
Because they're trying to weaponize.
Understand that? It wouldn't. You can't weaponize these ideas that these children are protected and then be wearisome when we come out and say, no, they're not. And why was this child's rights violated? Why was these parents' rights violated? That's the storyline. These are the things. We'll dissect that. It can't be in another way of a lawsuit. What's that? Doesn't even speak to the humanity of what this child is going through or other children are going through. How many more cases in here? We have a sister that just whispered in on my ear and said my child was taken out of the school as well because I was in fear of the abuse that my child might have gotten or took it. Have you guys called up Amber and asked her side of the story?
Have you guys checked on any of the other kids?
Interviewed them?
Have they? Yeah, are they okay?
What about the parents of the other kids in that classroom?
Have you let them know that they have children?
So we will not further in this time talk about any lawsuits without proper representation for the family.
I
Yes,
got
sir.
2 more questions.
Yes, sir.
How is Esion doing?
Yes.
Number 1, and number 2, have you spoken with Amber?
No. Esion is doing okay. Again, Esion is I can't ask my son how he's doing. I can just hope that he's doing okay. I can look him in his eyes and, and tell him that I have his back and that I'm gonna make sure that he's okay every day. I took him out of the school, so that's all that I could do at this time in order to make sure my son is not in harm's way on a day-to-day basis.
Do you think does he understand why he was taken out of school? Have you explained that?
I can't answer that, but I'm his advocate, so I understand. We all here understand why he was taken out of the school. They know, the district knows why I took him out of the school.
You all know why we took him out of the school.
So yes.
Had no choice. Right.
It's not a mystery.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
No? Thank you, guys.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Justice for who?
Esion!
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 Hold up. We have the superintendent here. Would you like to come to the media and answer any questions to the media?
Yes. She's been smiling the whole time.
Let her get her opportunity. Come speak.
Oh, come on, smile, baby. Oh my God.
Can you state your name and your title?
My name is Sarah Collegia. I'm superintendent of Folsom Cordova Unified School District. My name is spelled Sarah Kolligian.
And who's with you?
My my chief communication officer, Angela, Griffin, and Kelly.
Our first question for you, there were a lot of claims made by the family here and their advocates. I think where I want to start is what is the latest with this teacher? First, can you confirm that her name is Amber McGiffin? Second, can you confirm that she is on paid administrative leave?
Yes, I can confirm both that this teacher, Amber McGiffin, is on paid administrative leave. And she's not in any classroom right now.
And what was her title here at the school?
She was a special education teacher in our autistic classroom.
How long has she been a teacher here?
This is her first year. She started teaching on August 8th.
This was her first year. Can you bring us back to the timeline? The family had a very detailed timeline of many accusations against the school, many against Ms. McGiffin. Are you able to confirm that this happened on September 11th and that the family was not called until the 14th?
I can confirm that this happened on September 11th, and the family was contacted on the 14th.
Why was there a 3-day gap there?
The teacher was removed from the classroom once another employee made a report that was investigated by the school site and was immediately removed from the classroom. And we applaud those employees that step up and say something. And we are all mandated reporters. All 2,700 of our employees are mandated reporters, and we are required to do so, and required to call CPS and law enforcement.
So overemphasizing, this happened on September 11th. On the 13th is when the teacher was removed from the classroom by the end of the day, because that's the same day that the aide reported this. And on the 14th is when the family was contacted?
Yes.
And Superintendent, why did you make that phone call to the family?
Actually, I think Ms. McNeil got the call from our assistant superintendent, Ms. Betty Jo Wessinger, who's here, and she oversees all of our special education students and programs within the district. So I believe Ms. McNeil spoke with her. This is the first time that I met Ms. McNeil today here at this press conference. And first and foremost, you didn't ask me the question of how we care about ECM and any student that's vulnerable and cannot speak for themselves. And we are going to make that right. And we are going to hold staff accountable. But we have to go through an investigation process. And we are in an active investigation at this point in time. And because of that, there's certain information we can't disclose. We also believe and agree that, depending on what that investigation shows, there will be accountability.
What would that accountability look like?
It can be anything up from discipline up to dismissal, and that's why legal counsel is involved at the onset, not only for this case, but for any employee in our district where there are concerns and incidents brought forward. There is discipline up to, and it's possibility of discipline up to removal of their position. We involve legal counsel at the onset.
Are you able to tell us what exactly that teacher reported happening? I know we've heard restraints, we've heard illegal restraints, we've heard holding down, we heard a slap across the face. We've heard all of these things. From your account, what exactly happened inside that classroom?
Because this is an active investigation, we're not at liberty to share those details.
Why?
But what I can share is,
Why?
There will be accountability once that investigation is completed. And that
do you
employee
mean I
is
can't tell
currently
what
not in
happened?
front of children.
That sounds dumb to me.
At this point, have you heard any complaints from other parents or other families or legal guardians about Miss McGiffin?
I have not heard any as the superintendent. I don't know if our principal or other staff or Ms. Wessinger has heard any. None have come my way.
Superintendent, to you in the district here, how important is student safety here at Folsom Cordova Unified, and how serious does the district take allegations of child abuse?
Safety is our first priority, as it is in so many districts. I mean, I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, and I, would want the same for my grandchildren as well. And especially those of our little ones that are vulnerable and can't speak for themselves. So it is a priority. And when information comes to us or someone observes something that doesn't look right, our motto is, you see something, you say something. And once it's brought to our attention, we investigate and we hold people accountable. And we just have an example of what we did that 2 weeks ago. And we are committed to that in this situation too, and for ECON's well-being.
Clearly the urgency is really important to the family of receiving that report. Any idea on when the family might receive a report of what exactly happened? Because it sounds like they still don't know what happened exactly.
And that information is part of this investigation, and I can't speculate when that'll be completed, but it is an urgent matter for our district, and we are committed to getting back to this.
Any idea if there's video of the incident occurring?
That would be, I don't know at this point.
Superintendent, we do know that teachers, and you said yourself, are mandatory reporters. Any sort of education worker listening to the timeline, that teacher aide did wait 2 days to report this.
Yep.
We hope that everyone comes forward, but what is the timeline supposed to be if a mandated reporter sees something? Shouldn't they be saying something immediately?
They should. And what this has brought to our attention is we need to strengthen our training protocols. And we do have a lot of new people, both teachers and classified staff, of which our instructional assistants are part of that new group. And we have amped up our training at the beginning of this school year. There's a lot more work to be done. And if anything, that's on us, and that's a takeaway, and we're gonna improve on that because it should be done within 24 hours.
Is that teacher's aide still in the classroom?
Not in that classroom.
Are they on a paid administrative leave, or have they just been shifted to another classroom?
I don't have the details on that, but I know they're not in that classroom.
A lot of businesses have a hard time hiring people. Is it hard to find teachers now?
Actually, we started the school year with all of our teaching positions filled this year, which was a far cry from where we were a year ago. There were a lot of positions that were still vacant last year when we started the school year in August. Our classified positions, those are our positions like our instructional assistants, our yard duty supervisors. Those are where we've had more vacancies, and we hosted our own hiring fairs in Folsom, Cordova in June and in August to help fill those vacancies. Yes, so those are the ones we've had a harder time to fill.
CPS was
the slap, the alleged slap and illegal restraint. That was one situation, but the family has a list of grievances, including their child being sent home covered in his own urine, of him escaping the campus and ending up here on this main street where honestly cars are going by really fast.
Yes.
And I'm kind of feeling nervous with us standing here.
Yes.
Are those from the district? Are you also investigating those, and can you confirm that those happened on the timeline?
Yes, and that's part of why the initial IEP was held 2 days after that information came forward. So I believe on September 15th, Ms. McNeil met with the IEP team and talked about some of those concerns. But it's also the reason that the attorney wants to speak with the parent and hear firsthand in putting together the information.
Well, it sounds like it's kind of chicken or egg because they don't have the information. We're waiting on the report, so it sounds like what the family is saying is that they just don't know what to say, and it can be intimidating for a family who's new at this versus a district who's very experienced in these things and has legal counsel. Is the district going to be providing any sort of resources for the family through this? They've already pulled out their son, and it sounds like they're both working full time, and they're now not working because of this.
Well, we are committed to giving the family the supports that they need, and that's why our Assistant Superintendent of Special Education reached out to Ms. McNeil directly to offer that level of support. And it doesn't just end today or end with this press conference. This is through Ision's educational career. So we're committed to that.
So was CPS called by you guys?
Yes.
When?
CPS was called on
Immediately the day of the reporting.
13.
But not the
13th.
parent.
It was called by the school site.
Vacancies with the behavior specialists and IEPs. How many positions does the district roughly have for those, and then how many vacancies are there? If you have those
Are
numbers.
you talking about the instructional assistants?
Yes, that would be
for
what I meant.
special education?
Yes.
Right now, I'm not sure how many vacancies we've had. We have in our instructional assistant positions.
Sure.
But we do have probably close to 800 positions of instructional assistants throughout the district. We serve all of our own special needs students within Folsom, Cordova schools.
You stated earlier that this teacher, Ms. McGiffin, this was her first year with the district, so she's been here maybe a month or two, honestly, at the school site. Did she have any past experience working with children who have special needs or disabilities?
I can confirm that she was a student teacher for us at one of our other elementary schools in Rancho, Cordova last year. Not sure what classroom or classrooms. Typically, student teachers are in multiple classrooms. Being that she has a special education credential, she was probably in multiple special ed classrooms.
You stated earlier that more training is going to be provided for the aides and the staff that work with special needs students in regards to reporting requirements. But from a common sense standpoint, wouldn't anyone seeing someone abusing a child report that immediately?
We are committed to that, and it should have been done immediately, but it was done 2 days later, and we acted upon it as soon as possible. We do have required training for all employees before the school year begins, and we have another training that's focused on not only reporting, but if we see something unusual of many different natures, that how we navigate that. That's coming up on our professional development day in 2 weeks.
Okay. Is it possible that the delay in reporting was out of fear of retaliation?
No. I have no history of that, and when other employees have stepped forward and reported something, there has not been.
Okay.
We commend them for that.
I respect your response.
And if you're
wait, we have a question right here.
As a former elementary school teacher, at the district that I worked for, there was a zero tolerance for adults hitting and assaulting children. It's never justified, despite what may have been going on in the classroom. So my question to you is, earlier you said that disciplinary action could be up to dismissal, but if you find in your investigation that the allegations are true and this teacher has assaulted a child, there's consequences that are under dismissal that you would possibly consider?
Yes.
What are those consequences?
Well, up to dismissal.
And if it's not dismissal, if the teacher isn't terminated, what other consequences are there for a teacher assaulting a child?
Well,
On her paid leave?
Well, they're termination, and then they're no longer our employee. But there is no circumstance where it's appropriate for staff to put hands on students unless they're using
an appropriately trained restraint, which this teacher wasn't.
And that's part of the investigation.
And if I have a question. If this aide reported this on the 13th, why was the family not called until the next day? Because if your child or your grandchild was hit and you were made aware of it that same day, wouldn't you as a parent want to know that same day? I don't care what time it is, my phone should have been called that day.
Yeah, and I know the school had follow-up with the parent. I don't know exactly their timeline.
That's my issue. That's my issue, that my son was allowed to continuously be going to the school, to be subjected to more harm. Okay, it took 2 days for her to report, but my son was still sent to school that morning because I did not know. He would have never been on these grounds again around these people if I was notified immediately. That's my issue. Thank you.
Superintendent, I got a question for you. You know, obviously with these types of investigations, families are concerned that maybe not everything will come to light. How can, you know, families of the district know that this investigation is transparent, is thorough, is accurate, and is honest?
That's what we're committed to doing, and I think because it's an active investigation, we can't answer all the questions. When the investigation is complete, those things that we can disclose, we will disclose.
What is the timeline for that realistically? I mean, the news cycle happens and time passes. What kind of timeline are we really looking at to hear next steps, or for the family to be able to meet with administration again?
We stand ready to meet with the family again because we want Easton back in school, and we know he's a different setting, different teacher, and he needs to be at school. We want him back in school, so we're committed to that and meeting with Ms. McNeil at her convenience, so we can get that going. As far as the timeline from the investigation, there's urgency to it, but I can't tell you what that timeline is right now.
And I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I have my ducks in a row. For the teacher's aide who did report it, but waited, it sounds roughly 48 hours instead of the 24 hours. She's been moved to another classroom. Is she going to have any sort of repercussions for this? Any sort of retraining?
Forget her story.
Yeah, I'm just wondering is she still with students in the classroom, with special needs students?
She is not with students, but I don't have the details on what her, any kind of discipline that would, right now, I comment. She is not with students right now.
I have a question. Is Amber denying the abuse?
I have not spoken to Amber.
Whoa. Shouldn't that be the first part of the investigation?
Yeah.
The teacher?
Yes.
Our attorney is meeting with the teacher. Our attorney is conducting the investigation.
What steps have been taken in the investigation? Who has been besides an attempt to talk to the parent?
I don't have all those details, but I know the parent has been spoken with. There's an IEP meeting held on the 15th with the family.
What's the date today?
25th.
25th.
This is the 25th today, right?
25th.
Yes.
The report came to the parents, what, September what?
14.
And we haven't talked to
And Amber hasn't been talked to?
She's just been on paid administrative leave.
So she's been on
She's just
paid
getting
administrative
paid.
leave? See, and that's why we have to slow down just a little bit, Superintendent. We talk about the transparency. We're not here September 16th, September 17th. To be honest with you, if there wasn't a call to call Barry Axius, that we wouldn't have been here at all. And if I not called some of my beautiful colleagues and comrades in the media, you know who you are, that we wouldn't all be here at this press conference. Today would be a day of Monday where our young champion wouldn't be in school. You guys would have just kind of done what you needed to do, and she would have just waited for you guys to say, come back to work. Because there's no reasonable way that it's September 25th, Amber has not had any discussion with the district. That's absolutely insane to me.
Mr. Axius, I'd like to clarify a point that I did not say that the teacher has not been spoken to. I did say there is an active investigation going on. Ms. McGiffin is part of that investigation, so you're making an assumption.
No, I just said I clearly we asked. You said no. You said no and said no. Okay. And that's what I put out there. So the clarification. That's all we're doing. Yeah. But let's be clear. The reason why this thing is now going to speed up is because we showed up, and that's the truth. Because no one has said anything. Because unfortunately, the timeline that you guys have stated has not been accurate with your policies of mandated reporting. Right. So the offense please don't get on the defensive, because we're on the offensive, because we want to know why this child can't go back into his classroom. And it's a violation of your people under your jurisdiction. So hold that.
Just to be clear, so Ms. McGiffin has spoken with the legal team on behalf of the district. Has she spoken with the principal, with anyone else?
I can't confirm that. It's an active investigation, as I said earlier.
Superintendent, the 13th of September was a Wednesday. That's when the report came down. Was McGiffin in class the 14th, or was she? So
She was removed after the information came to us.
after class on the 13th. And was she questioned that day? Any idea about what came down?
That's part of the investigation, but that would be our normal protocol when we have an employee discipline issue, is that we speak with the employee and we speak with any of the witnesses.
Immediately? What you're saying that same day is when that report comes in, you speak with them then?
We're talking about the investigation, we're talking about the steps that we took. What? Yeah. Our first step is always student well-being, student safety. So if a report comes in and student safety is a concern, and we want to make sure that that student is in a safe, well place. So that's our first step always. So details of the investigation and a timeline and the who, what, where, when. Again, it's an active investigation. What we can affirm is that a student, if there is a report of any suspicion of harm, we immediately act to make sure that that student is in a safe place.
But you didn't, because you found out Wednesday, but the mother didn't get notified until Thursday. So you allowed for my grandchild to be dropped back off at this unsafe place.
Right.
So, no, it didn't have to be picked back up. You guys have late night calls, automated calls. You have emails. You could have helped not have him dropped off at this school again. But you allowed him to be once again exposed to abuse.
So what, the moment that we heard of the alleged report of the moment we heard of the report of the concern, the teacher was removed from ECM.
But the parent wasn't notified. That is the thing. You allowed him to get dropped back off. If you found out Wednesday, then Wednesday the mother should have known. So we wouldn't have brought our child back to this unsafe place, is what I'm trying to get you to understand. You need to change your protocol. You keep saying you followed, but you didn't. You keep saying immediately, but you didn't. You immediately helped her, but you didn't immediately help me.
And then you put him back in that unsafe environment as if black kids don't experience PTSD after being physically harmed under your care.
And then he couldn't even tell us.
Yeah.
So then he had to go back to his abusers. Because the aide, I don't feel it either with her. Because she didn't protect him either. So then he had to be exposed to her again for someone else to possibly hurt him, and nobody is speaking up. This is what we're not understanding. You keep saying protocol, we did these steps. No, you did not protect my grandson. Period.
Yep.
His safety was violated.
Yes.
And this was
We are
a form,
following
another
up
form of child abuse.
on the investigation, and we'll hold the staff accountable. And again, making sure that we are working with Ms. McNeil for the best placement and well-being.
He has a father too.
And
Yeah.
He has a
Mr. Graham.
father too that's
And
here.
Mr. Graham.
Yes, he had two parent homes.
Part of that investigation, and this is just making sure that we get our reporting as accurate as possible, is part of the investigation also the incident where he came home covered in urine, and also how he was able to get out of campus. Are those all part of this investigation under Ms. McGiffin?
I would say any of the incidents that Ms. McNeil and Mr. Graham have brought forward are part of the active investigation. We need all the details of what's happened.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Just that we're committed to the safety of our students, for ECON's well-being, and we are standing here ready to work with Ms. McNeil and Mr. Brown in finding the best placement for ECON.
We'd love to see action behind those words.
Yeah.
How many other classes in the district, or special ed classes that you have? How many teachers?
I don't have that number, but I can. With that?
Justice for who?
ECON!
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 Signs up. Justice for who?
ECON!
Justice for who?
ECON!
Justice for who?
ECON!
Justice Justice for who?
ECR.
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 We will not tolerate what?
Abuse.
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 We stand for Ezion all the way, 100%. He is my great-grandson, and I don't like this one bit. This is a mandated reporting state. The aide that was in that classroom should have reported it the first day, not 2 or 3 days later. And that's ridiculous. And then them talking about calling my granddaughter on the 14th, that's ridiculous.
Amber needs to
And
be
none
held
of those
accountable.
kids are safe if that aide is still in class with them because she's not reporting anything.
Exactly.
So none of those kids are
That
safe.
aide need to
Who do
be
you want fired?
Amber.
Who do you want fired?
Amber.
Fire 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 Amber.
Fire
Fire
Amber.
Amber. Fire Amber.
and the aide.
Not deserve paid administrative leave.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.